Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into the invisible assets that build empires. It's a concept that really drives the whole modern economy, but it's something most people can't see or touch. It's what's known as a right with economic value.
So, let's start with a little question to get you thinking. Picture a physical building. Now picture the brand name that goes on that building. Which one of those do you think is actually worth more? Well, the answer might surprise you.
I mean, think about McDonald's. A single restaurant building, that's valuable for sure. But the right to operate as a McDonald's franchise, that invisible, intangible right is where the real, mind-boggling economic power is. It's the system, not just the bricks and mortar.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, we need to get clear on what we're talking about. What exactly is this invisible asset? What does a right with economic value actually mean in plain English?
All right, here's the core idea. It's basically any legal right you have that can make you money or give you some kind of financial upper hand, even if it's not a physical thing. It's all about control and profit, not about physical objects.
And here's maybe the simplest way to think about it, cutting through all the jargon. If you own a right, and that right can either make you money or you could sell it to someone else, then bingo, you own an asset with economic value. It's really that straightforward.
So where do we actually find these rights in the real world? Well, the thing is, they're literally all around us. They're often grouped into 7 major categories that kind of form the invisible foundation of our entire economy. First up, you've got ownership rights. A perfect example is owning a stock. You don't get a little piece of the company's factory, right? What you own is the intangible right to a piece of its future profits. That stock certificate, or more likely, that line of code in your brokerage account, represents a seriously powerful financial right. Next, we have usage rights. Think about the software on your phone or your computer. You probably don't own it. What you actually bought was a license, the legal right to use it. And for companies like Microsoft or Adobe, the billions of these little usage rights they've sold, that's their most valuable asset, by far. And then you've got the heavy hitters of the modern world, intellectual property rights. We're talking about a patent on an invention, a trademarked logo like the Nike swoosh, or the copyright to a movie. These things are basically monetized ideas, and they're what make companies like Apple and Disney worth trillions. Every single time you sign a contract, you're either creating or transferring rights. And the simple right to receive a payment that's written in a contract, that is the fundamental asset that the entire global banking industry is built on.
Then there are rights that are directly tied to money itself. The right to collect interest on a loan, the right to get dividends from a stock, or even the right to access your crypto wallet with your private key. These are all financial rights with huge economic value.
Now, this is interesting. Sometimes governments literally create value out of thin air just by granting an exclusive right. Things like a broadcasting license for a TV station or a permit to import certain goods. These can become the foundation for massive industries.
And check this out. This is where it gets really fascinating. Even with something as physical as a piece of land, you don't just own the dirt. You actually own a whole bundle of different rights. You own the mineral rights underneath, the water rights, even the air rights above it. And each one of those rights can be sold or leased separately.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? The really crucial point is this. We are living in an economy where these invisible rights are consistently, and I mean dramatically, more valuable than actual, tangible things. And this chart, this really gets to the heart of it all. A brand name can be worth billions, making the value of the factories that produce the goods look tiny in comparison. A single patent can generate more wealth than thousands of acres of land. The center of economic gravity has totally shifted from the physical world to the conceptual one. And you see this power play out with the biggest companies on the planet. Apple's value isn't really in its buildings, it's in its patents, its brand, its software rights. Disney's entire empire is built on the rights to characters like Mickey Mouse. It's all about the invisible assets. So the big question is, how do the world's wealthiest people and corporations actually use this concept? Well, let's look at one of the key tools in their toolbox, the holding company. Now, this is a really fundamental shift in how you think about business. A holding company's main job isn't to make stuff or sell services. No, its primary job is to own and control a portfolio of valuable income-producing rights. Think about it. Its portfolio isn't just stocks and bonds. It's the right to collect profits from other companies it owns. It's the right to get royalties from a hit song. It's the right to collect rent from a skyscraper. It builds wealth by strategically buying and holding rights that kick off cash flow.
Okay, so this brings us to the final and honestly, probably the most important piece of this whole puzzle,
If these rights are so incredibly valuable, what are they, legally speaking?
The answer to this question is what unlocks their entire economic power. It's the secret sauce that lets them be bought, sold, and used to build massive, generational wealth.
That's it. That's the big reveal. In the eyes of the law, a right with economic value is treated as property, just like a house or a piece of land, except you can't touch it. It's a form of intangible property.
And because it's legally considered property, that's what unlocks everything. You can do all the same things with it that you can do with physical property. You can sell it. You can license it out for a stream of royalties. You can even use it as collateral to get a loan from a bank. Or you can stick it inside a holding company for protection and growth. This legal status is its superpower.
So once you really get this concept, you start to see the world in a completely different way. You see value where other people just see ideas or simple agreements. So the big takeaway question for you is this. Now that you know what to look for, what valuable, invisible rights are hiding in plain sight all around you?